constitute an invasion, you would agree that the executive branch of the federal government is also derelict in their Article 4, Section 4 duty to protect the states from invasion, an impeachable offense. Article 9 of the Bill of Rights states that the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Surely, if the President is in violation of his Article 2, Section 1 oath of office to defend the Constitution by his contempt for securing the border, Article 9 of the Bill of Rights certainly retains our right to correct the matter through each state's legislature in our Republican form of government. Critics of the bill worry about racial profiling by the police. Even though Senate Bill 1070 has language prohibiting racial profiling by police, it is no guarantee. Once again, though, the Constitution provides a solution. The Fourth Amendment protects you from unreasonable searches and seizures, and Article 7 of the Bill of Rights preserves the right of trial by jury, which could be used to hold public officials accountable for constitutional violations such as racial profiling. Of course, the citizens of each city, county, and state would have to organize and assemble these grand juries. We would also be wise to return to common law rather than subject ourselves to corporate admiralty courts. That's a whole other speech in and of itself. We, the people of these United States, have repeatedly petitioned the federal government, as guaranteed by the accountability clause of the First Amendment, in regards to their contempt for their constitutional duties. After years of silence from every level and every branch of government, the people elected delegates to attend our nation's Third Continental Congress to come up with a solution. What came out of the Continental Congress is a document called the Articles of Freedom, which I have here in my briefcase if anybody would like to look at after I'm done speaking, with remedial instructions to the President, the Congress, and state governments, and advice to the people for ways to return to constitutional governance. You can read these instructions for the people regarding illegal immigration in Article 14 of the Articles of Freedom at articlesofreedom.us. You can also view archived footage of the Continental Congress at cc2009.us. If our borders are left open and our government refuses to enforce immigration laws, we will lose our national sovereignty. Considering our government has refused to even answer the people's repeated petitions for redress of grievance, one has to wonder if our government wants to keep the borders open. Would they purposefully be letting this invasion happen to perhaps usher in a EU-style North American Union? If you want to find out the truth, I suggest you turn off your televisions, stop watching the mainstream media, and do some research on your own. The powers that be have a firm grip on what the mainstream media reports, and they don't want you to know about the North American Union, the Bilderberg Group, or the New World Order. By the way, the Bilderberg Group is meeting this weekend as we speak in Spain. I only know one website to bring that to, that's Infowars.com. So they don't want you to know how to defend your rights and restore your Constitution. That's why the mainstream media keeps the masses distracted with left, right, liberal, conservative mindset instead of providing actual investigative reporting, as you can find for yourself. Many of my young friends are apathetic and claim to be too busy to bother with politics. Let me remind my friends that all it takes for evil to prevail is for good to prevail. Now, I'm not saying that illegal immigrants are evil. In fact, many of them are fleeing the evil drug cartels that are wreaking havoc on Mexico as we speak. Thanks in part to drug prohibition and Americans' appetite for substance abuse, these drug cartels have more money and more power than any armed terrorists ever had before. It's being pointed to the Colombianization of Mexico, and I think it's time to pay as much attention to our own borders as we're paying to the borders of Iraq and Afghanistan. Rather than deportation or criminal laws, let me make a little comparison. If I was to get caught robbing a bank and my only punishment was to give the money back, everybody would be attempting to rob banks because there wouldn't be any consequences. If we grant amnesty to unlawful immigrants, we'll be telling the world that if you come here and break our laws, you will be rewarded with citizenship. It would also be a slap in the face to those who have immigrated here legally. I understand that the immigration process is riddled with more hurdles than need be for peaceful, lawful immigrants, and this is something that must be improved, but after we secure our borders. Americans to unite behind the Constitution and the rule of law. Remember, united we stand, divided we fall. Regardless of your race, your creed, age, gender, or political ideology, we are all Americans, and we all have a role to play in leaving future generations a better country than was left to us. Now I'd like to take a moment just to switch gears and address the apathy that I see in my generation. I don't see too many young folks here today, and most of my friends have stayed home and have not come out here to support me as well. Many of you are living in a bubble, and things appear to be so corrupt that you just don't want to do anything about it. So you fill your lives with sports and entertainment, money and material possessions, even drugs and alcohol sometimes to keep yourself away from the ugly truth of our world. I understand, I've been there too, but when are you going to realize the power that you have to make a difference in your world, in your country, and in your community? Our generation, my generation, has the lowest voter turnout of all ages, well below 10%. I hear young folks complain about things all the time, but I wonder, do they make an effort to call their congressman? I hear them talk about the rising cost of living, the rising cost of school, but I ask my young fellow Americans, if you know anything about monetary policy, or if you understand inflation in the Federal Reserve. Now, to make my point, let me quote John F. Kennedy, who said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." We all have grown up in a relatively free society, but after generations of taking that freedom for granted, we find our republic on the brink of collapse. What will you do to ensure freedom and liberty for your children? What will you do to restore government of, by, and for the people? It may seem like an impossible task ahead of us, but it all starts within yourself. Make the conscious decision to inform yourself about your rights and about the enemies of freedom. Join the Tea Party, the Campaign for Liberty, or a host of other groups defending the Constitution. Let me end by quoting my leader in the Patriot Movement, Congressman Ron Paul. He said that the time has come to act. May future generations look back on our work and say that these were the men and women who, in a moment of great crisis, stood up to the politicians, the opinion holders, and the establishment to save their country. Thank you, and God bless America.